Dear student, in today's session, we will discuss pumping lemma for context-free languages. Previously, we have also discussed one pumping lemma for regular languages. Both the pumping lemma for regular languages and for context-free languages are similar in nature. So, like the pumping lemma for regular languages, this pumping lemma for context-free languages is also used basically for two purposes. Number one, it gives a method of generating infinite number of strings from a given sufficiently long string in a context-free languages. In pumping lemma for regular languages, it was also giving a method of generating infinite number of strings from a sufficiently long string, but for the regular languages. Now it is giving for context-free languages. So both are similar. Then secondly, it is used to prove that certain languages are not context-free. So our pumping lemma for regular languages was used to show that certain given languages are not regular. So similarly, this pumping lemma for context-free languages is used to show that certain languages are not context-free. Now we will be discussing the definition of the pumping lemma, and we'll see how we can use a pumping lemma for context-free languages to show that certain given languages are not context-free languages. Now the theorem of pumping lemma says that if L is a context-free language, then we can find a natural number n such that these four conditions are met. What are these four conditions? Condition number one is that every string z belonging to L with the length greater than or equal to n. So this n we also call as the pumping length. So every string of the language which is having its length greater than the pumping length can be written as u, v, w, x, y for some strings u, v, w, x and y. Meaning thereby each u, v, w, x and y will be the substrings of this z. They will be the part of this z. So meaning thereby this z can be divided into 5 parts: u, v, w, x and y. So z can be divided into the 5 parts with length of vx greater than equal to 1, or we can say it is greater than 0. Okay, so what does it mean? It simply means that among the v and x, these two substrings, only one can be null. If one is null, then other is required to be non-null, because the length cannot be equal to 0. And if the length is equal to 0, both v and x will be equal to null. So if length is not equal to 0, so at least one among the v and x will be non-null. And then third condition is length of vwx, means this part. Length of vwx should be less than or equal to n, means the less than or equal to the pumping length. If we combine these two conditions, that vx, length of vx is greater than or equal to 1 and length of vwx is less than or equal to n, then we can deduce that length of vx is minimum 1 and maximum n. Suppose we assume that w is null, then the whole length is contributed by these two substrings v and x. So length of v and x is maximum is n. So length of vx maximum is n and length of vx minimum is 1. So we can deduce this thing. And then fourth one is u v to the power k w x to the power k y belongs to L for all k greater than equal to 0. So this fourth condition gives us the first property of the pumping lemma, that is, from a single string z we are able to generate infinite many strings. Suppose if once we take the value of k equal to 0, then we will be generating a string u, w and y. So that will also belong to L. When k is equal to 1, then u, v, w, x, y, that is the z itself belongs to L. When the value of k is equal to 2, then u, v, w, x, y, that string will also belong to L. Similarly, for more values of k, that is k equal to 3, k equal to 4, means this part v and x we can repeat as many times as we wish in our string, and the string will be the part of the language if the language is context-free. So this is the whole theorem which pumping lemma for context-free languages says. Now we will discuss how we can utilize this theorem to show that certain given languages are not context-free languages. So we'll discuss its procedure, and then we will take one example to show it. Now we will discuss how we can show that a given language L is not a context-free language. So we'll look at the procedure. So this procedure contains 3 steps. In the step 1, we assume that the given language L is a context-free language. So we assume a given language L is context-free language, and because L is context-free language, so it should follow all the restrictions of the pumping lemma. And we also assume that a natural number n, which we will obtain with the help of pumping lemma, which is the pumping length. So we'll assume L is context-free and n is its pumping length. Now in the step 2, we will find a string z belonging to L such that the length of z is greater than equal to n. So again, we are choosing, as per the restrictions of the pumping lemma, we are choosing a string of sufficient length, such a string whose length is greater than the pumping length. Okay, and then we are writing the z as u, v, w, x, y, meaning thereby we are dividing this z in 5 parts: u, v, w, x, and y, as per the restrictions of the pumping lemma. So what were the restrictions of the pumping lemma? That length of v and x combined should be greater than or equal to 1, and the length of v, w, and x combined should be less than or equal to n. So that's the second restriction and third restriction. And then if all these restrictions has been followed, all the restrictions of the pumping lemma has been followed, then the fourth restriction should also be true. That is, u, v to the power k, w, x to the power k, y should always belong to L. So now what we have to do, we have to find a suitable k such that we can show that u, v to the power k, w, x to the power k, y does not belong to L. As per the pumping lemma, it should belong to L, but if we are able to find such a k that this string u, v to the power k, w, x to the power k, y, it does not belong to L, then it is a contradiction, because whatever we have done, we have written z, we have divided this z in u, v, w, x, and y, all as per the restrictions of the pumping lemma, and we are also assuming that our L is a context-free language, so this fourth condition should also be followed. If this condition is not followed, it is simply a contradiction of our assumption that L is a context-free language. So as it is a contradiction, so we have shown that for some k, this string does not belong to L, so L is not a context-free language. We can deduce this fact. So in this manner, we will prove that through the contradiction, we will prove that a given language L is not a context-free language. If you are carefully looking at the process of showing that L is not context-free, it is the similar process which we have done in case of pumping. In case we were showing that a given language is not regular as per the pumping lemma for the regular languages. So it is the same procedure which we have to follow. Now we take one example to show that the given language is not a context-free language. And our example language L is equal to a to the power n, b to the power n, c to the power n, such that n is greater than equal to 1. We already know that because simultaneously 3 quantities are to be matched, so this language is not a context-free language. Now we have to prove as per the pumping lemma that this is not a context-free language. So as per the procedure of pumping lemma, we will be performing step 1, 2 and 3. So as per the step 1, we have assumed that L is a context-free language. And because L is a context-free language, so we are finding the pumping length and we assume that its pumping length is n. So L is a context-free language with its pumping length as n. Now in the step 2, we have to take a word z, whose length is greater than or equal to this pumping length n. So suppose we take a word z of the form a to the power n, b to the power n, c to the power n. Suppose this is my z, then the length of this z will be equal to 3n. So n number of a's are there, n number of b's are there, n number of c's are there. So its length of the whole word z will be equal to 3n. So which is certainly greater than n, so which is greater than pumping length. So I have taken a word z, a string z from the language L, which is of sufficient length. Now I will be writing z as equal to u, v, w, x and y with the restrictions of the pumping lemma, meaning thereby that length of V and X is greater than equal to 1 and the length of VWX is less than equal to n. If I combine these two, then I simply say that one is less than equal to the length of Vx is less than equal to the length of n. Meaning thereby if W is null, so whole length comes from Vx, and here the length of Vx is given, so minimum length of Vx is 1 and maximum length of Vx is n. So I have written in a single condition that 1 is less than equal to the length of Vx less than equal to the length of n. Even I can write that both V and X has minimum length 1 and maximum length n. So 1 is less than equal to the length of V less than equal to the length of n. And similar is the condition for X as well. So suppose in these two my X is null, so whole length comes from V. So minimum length of V will be 1 and maximum length of V will be n. Similarly, if V is null, the minimum length of X will be 1 and maximum length of X will be n. So length of both V and X lies between 1 and n. So if this is the situation, now we will be discussing what cases may be arriving. Now as we have seen that 1 is less than equal to the length of V is less than equal to n, and similarly length of X is also between 1 and n. So what values V or X may contain? Can they contain all three symbols from ABC, because U, V, W, X, Y is A to the power n, B to the power n, C to the power n. So can V contain all three symbols ABC? No, it is not. For example, suppose I am taking the value of n as 3. So my string will be triple A, triple B and triple C. And restrictions over my V is that its length, minimum length is 1 and maximum length is n, that is the 3. Because I have taken the value of n here as 3. Okay. So V must have at least one symbol or maximum 3 symbols. So suppose if I start V from here. So even if the maximum length of V is 3, so I can go up to maximum here. Okay. So I can contain only A, I cannot contain B's, I cannot contain C. Similarly, suppose if I start from here, from this point, from the last A, even then the length, maximum possible length for B is 3. So I can take this A, this B and this B. Maximum I can go up to here. Okay. So I can contain only 2 symbols A and B. I cannot contain C. If I have to contain C, I have to at least start from here. So from here I will start 1, 2 and 3, then 3 symbols I can contain. Then I will be containing B and C, but then I will not be able to contain A. And similar will be the situation for X, because both V and X are having their length, their minimum length 1 and their maximum length n. So they cannot contain all 3 symbols. So they will either contain a single symbol or they will contain at the most 2 symbols. So there are 2 cases as I have written here. V or X contains a single symbol, and if V or X contain a single symbol, then the format of V or X will be of the form A to the power I or B to the power I or C to the power I, meaning thereby they will be containing only some A's or some B's or some C's. Suppose it contains only some A's, so it will be some, suppose A to the power 2. Okay, so the value of I is 2 in that case. So A to the power I. Suppose it contains only B's, then some number of B's are there. So B to the power I or C to the power I. This will be the format for both V and X. Then second case, when it may contain 2 symbols, because we have seen that at most 2 symbols we can contain. Okay, so if it is containing 2 symbols, suppose A and B, so suddenly it will be of the format A to the power I, B to the power J, means some number of A's will be there and some number of B's will be there. And similarly, if I start with a V, then some number of B's and some number of C's I will contain. So it will be having the format B to the power I, C to the power J. So these will be the 2 cases. Now we will discuss that as per each case, what value of K we should take to show a contradiction. Now we come to the step 3, where we have to choose an appropriate value of K such that we can show that U, V to the power K, W, X to the power K, Y does not belongs to L. Thereby it is contradicting our restrictions of pumping lemma. Okay. So we in step 2 we have already seen that as per the values of v and x, they can take two form. Either they will be containing the single symbol or they may contain at most two symbols. So we are taking the first case where it contains a single symbol. Okay. So if it contains a single symbol, suppose v contains some of the a's and suppose x contains some of the c's. So there will be the symbol b's which will neither come in v nor come in x. Okay. So if I take suppose k equal to 0. So the number of a's which are in v, that will be reduced, and number of c's which are in x, those will be reduced. So I will be in my resultant string, that is the u, w and y, because v to the power 0 is there, x to the power 0 is there, so that part we are removing from it. Okay, so u w y, this string will contain some number of a's which are lesser than n. Suppose n minus, I say n minus I. Okay, then b will be in full numbers because b are neither present in v nor present in x. So all b's will come, and then some number of c's which are less than n. Suppose n minus k, like this. Okay, so I will be getting a string of this form. So because the number of a's, number of b's, and number of c's are not equal in this string, so that will be that string will not be the part of the language. So for k is equal to 0, we have shown that it is a contradiction. Or we take any value of k. Suppose I take the value of k is equal to 2. Okay, so I take the value of k is equal to 2. Then the string will be u v to the power 2 w x to the power 2 y. So this string will be of the form a to the power n plus I, b to the power n, c to the power n plus a. Why? Because the number of a's which are present in v, because v I am taking twice, so that much number of a's will be increased. Similarly, through the x contains some c's, so the number of c's which x is containing, that much number of c will be increased, so it will be n plus k. But b is neither coming in v nor coming in x, so b will remain as it is. So number of b's in your string will remain as it is. So now I and k cannot be equal to 0 because v and x are non-null. At least one of them are non-null. Okay, so that's why we are not getting the number of a's, number of b's, and number of c's equal. So in any case, except the k equal to 1, you take any value of k, either 0, 2, 3, 4, and so on, you will be getting a contradiction. Okay, so meaning thereby the language L is not context free if we are taking the case 1. Now similarly, we will be taking the case 2. Now in case 2, where we have assumed that our v and x are of the form that they contain two symbols. So I am taking only for v. Suppose v is of the form a to the power I, b to the power j. It can also be of the form b to the power I, c to the power j, but I am taking only this form a to the power I, b to the power j. If v is of this form, then what will be v square? v2. Okay, so v2 will be of the form a to the power I, b to the power j, a to the power I, b to the power j. It will not be equal to a to the power 2i, b to the power 2j because it is v2. We are working with strings. Okay, so v square means v concatenated with v. So first we will take a to the power I, b to the power j, then a to the power I, b to the power j. So this will be v square. So suppose if we take our k is equal to 2. So the string u v square w x square y, it will not belong to L. Why it will not belong to L? Because it is containing a substring that is v square. And v square is of the form a to the power I, b to the power j, a to the power I, b to the power j. So means this will appear at this place here in your string. Okay, meaning thereby after a's, some b's will come, then again some a's will come, and then some b's will come. Can this format is allowed in our words of this language? No. Here in this language, all b's comes after all the a's. So if a's has finished and b's have started, then a's again cannot come. But here in this string, after the b's, again a's will come. Okay, so that's why this word u v square w x square y will not be of this particular format. And similarly, we can show for x. as well. X is suppose also having two symbols, suppose B or C, then x square will be of the form b to the power I, c to the power j, and then b to the power I, c to the power j. So after c's again we are getting these. So it will not be of the format. Okay, so that's why this word will not belong to the given language, and again it is a contradiction. So in case 2 as well, we are getting the contradiction. We are able to show that for some value of k, our string u v to the power k w x to the power k y does not belong to L. So that's why the given language L is not a context-free language, as it is unable to follow the restrictions of the pumping lemma for context-free languages. Now I wish that you attempt at your own this one question. Show that the L is equal to WW such that W belongs to 0, 1 asterisk is not a context-free language. Okay, we know that if W is repeated again, then this will not be a context-free language. At this place, suppose if the words are of the form WWR, then this language will be context-free. But when it is WW, it will not be context-free. So for this language, you have to show that this is not a context-free language. So attempt it at home, or you can also search for its solution at internet. And similarly, you can follow certain more, you can try certain more questions from the book or from the internet or from the previous year question papers. So this is all I wanted to discuss in the pumping lemma for context-free languages. Thank you.